Nebraska just kicked off the beginning of fall practice, and Mike Ekeler has gotten to work adjusting everything about this Husker special teams unit. It is going to look completely different in 2025. So in today's video, I'm going to go over this big time update, what's been going on behind the scenes, every single huge change that you can expect, what's going on at that kick return spot. What about kicker? Who is our starter going to be? What about punter? Some huge areas of improvements that we've already heard nuggets about, and a couple other areas that are still massive question marks that honestly might get worse. We need to talk about them and a couple other big time nuggets that you need to know. So really quick, this video is jam-packed. Hit that like button if you're fired up about Nebraska potentially having a better special teams unit, because I know I am. Hit that like button. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? This season is almost here. And listen, this is the only place in Nebraska YouTube where you get daily content talking to your favorite team, talking Huskers. It's a no-brainer. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it. Talking about Nebraska special teams going into the season, all the nuggets that we've heard so far in fall camp, why it's going to take a huge jump forward in a lot of areas and potentially a step back in a couple others. We'll get into it. So let's just get things started with Mike Ekeler, because we know that Nebraska, they hired him at the start of the year, coming in from Tennessee, one of the best special teams coordinators in America, was previously with Nebraska about 2 decades ago at this point with Bo Pelini. He's from this state. He knows how important Nebraska football is. And already it's been a complete 180 from Ed Foley. When Ed Foley, his message was just don't mess up on special teams. Don't mess up. Pretty much the bare minimum. Mike Ekeler, he's taken that just a little bit of a step forward, just a little bit. It's all about aggressiveness, toughness, execution at the highest level, and making game-changing plays for your offense and your defense. Mike Ekeler, not only does he preach that, but he lives that through his actions. We know that he's a fiery guy, so for that reason, this special teams unit has already taken a jump forward in a lot of aspects, but there are a couple other aspects that still are question marks that we'll get into. So let's get into the fall ball nuggets, the things that we've already heard. The first area of improvement for Nebraska is the kick returns. And that feels great to say. For the first time in about a decade, Nebraska will have a dynamic return situation, whether it's kickoffs or punt returns. We're going to have a dynamic returner who can bring it to the house, who can have a game-changing play. Really, last time Nebraska had that was over a decade ago with DeMornay Pearsonell. It's been a very long time. You know, you go back to the Matt Rule era so far. We've had Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda back there. We've had Oliver Marr, just a guy who's going to go out there and fair catch it. And that's about it. We've never had a dynamic returner. That changed this year with Mike Ekeler, because he's all about speed, size, explosiveness, and the ability to make a game-changing play once again. We know that at Tennessee, he had the 15th ranked return yardage in America. He developed Velus Jones Jr., one of the best returners in the country. He's trying to find his Velus Jones Jr. He's trying to find his DeMornay Pearsonell. So talking about this battle a little bit, because honestly, behind the scenes, this kick return battle is huge, and nobody really ever talks about it. You got Andrew Marshall, who's in the mix there, one of the better FCS returners last year at Idaho, super speedy, right? You got Jacory Barney, who's probably going to be our starting punt returner, maybe not kicks this year, but definitely returning punts. Isaiah Mozee, somebody who's had a very strong spring ball. He's going to be in the mix to return kicks and punts. You got Kenneth Williams, who's a sleeper walk-on running back who's very, very fast and shifty. And you got a couple other wide receivers and DBs in the mix there. So I just know this. It's going to be battle. We'll see who ends up starting, but all you need to know is that it's going to be more than just, fair catching this year. We're actually going to have a dynamic returner who can bring it to the house, who has speed, who's elusive, and also, most importantly, is secure. He's not going to fumble this football. He's not going to drop it. You know, Mike Ekeler, he's all about toughness. He's all about aggressiveness, but it's also, you're on a short leash. If you go out there and muff it, you're probably never going to return kicks the rest of the year, right? So Mike Ekeler, where he's going to find his guy, and just know this, Nebraska, for the first time in about a decade, we're actually going to be able to flip the field and potentially get a couple touchdowns on return. So I'm going to be interested to see who ends up starting. My guess, I'm going to tell you right now who I think is going to start. I think Andrew Marshall is going to be our starting kick returner, and I think punt returner is going to be Jacory Barney. That is my guess right now. I'm sticking to it, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen from what we've heard so far in fall camp. But that's not the only area of improvement that you can expect from Nebraska special teams. The second is going to be blocking kicks. Now, Nebraska, actually, that was really the only unit that wasn't too bad under Ed Foley. Like, we blocked a kick, in 2023 versus Purdue that, we brought back for a touchdown. We blocked a kick versus USC last year. So we've blocked kicks time and time again. But really, this year with Mike Ekeler, it's going to be on a different level. Okay, in 2023, he had one of the most blocked kicks special teams unit in America. He had 6 blocks, 4 of which were on kicks, 2 of them were on punts. He preaches energy, making game-changing plays once again. Nebraska's going to come after that football this year, right? They're going to have their speedy corners off the edge trying to swat at that football. They're going to have these big nose tackles getting up, trying to get the football down, right? So, again, we're going to be coming after that kicker or that punter. Man, that's going to be exciting to see, right? Because you just know, when we have a dynamic special teams unit, you never know when something can happen. We can, change the game in just a matter of one play. So it's going to be exciting to see us actually blocking some kicks consistently this year, especially against worse teams who aren't as good in special teams. We historically have been that worst team. So for that reason, these teams like Iowa, Rutgers will take advantage of, and, they'll block a lot of kicks. Now Nebraska will be the team that's taking advantage of these other smaller schools, not the one being taken advantage of. So that's exciting to see. And then just about technique and energy, right? He's all about a couple things, right? Tackling on kickoffs, right? Not missing any tackles, going down the right lane. Physical blocking on returns. If you're blocking for Jacory Barney, make sure that he has an open lane to use his elusiveness and go down and score a touchdown, right? It's one thing to be elusive as a returner, but if you don't have any blocks, it doesn't matter. You're going to get destroyed, right? You need somebody out there to lay the boom on a couple of opposing defenders so you have an open lane in order to go and get a big return. So he's all about, physical blocking on kick returns and punt returns, tackling on kickoffs, great snaps and great holds when you're actually kicking the football through the uprights, something Nebraska, they haven't had the last couple of years with Ed Foley. And it's just all about perfection, right? That's what Mike Ekeler's about. Okay, he's about perfection. Over and over and over and over and over again until it's perfect. And if you mess up and you don't have a good hold and you don't have a good kick, guess what? You're not seeing the football. Get out of here. You're going to be on the sideline. Okay, go on the bench, right? Warm it up for the starters, right? That's exactly what's going to happen with Mike Ekeler. Everybody's on a short leash on special teams. We're not messing around this year. We're just not. That's how good football teams are operated. If you mess up, we're not going to see you for a couple games, especially on that unit. Okay, that's how it is on offense. That's how it is on defense. Why would that change on special teams? Because honestly, the biggest problem with Ed Foley is there'd be a player who would make an awful play on a special teams where he'd give up a block or, whatever, right? He'd muff a kick and he'd be out there the next drive on this same unit. It's like, why is that guy not getting benched? That's the change with Mike Ekeler. Short leash for all these guys. And overall, it's just about energy, man. If you're not playing 100% of the time, you're just not going to be in the football game. So those are all the things that are going to get a lot better. We've already heard some big nuggets about that. I think the kick return situation is going to be better. The overall going down and actually tackling the opposing kicker, or excuse me, the opposing returner is going to be a lot better. The snapping is going to be better, of course. The holding is going to be better. But the only big concerns are actually the things that put points on the scoreboard consistently, and that's the kicking battle. Okay, and we'll get to you still have punter there, and punter definitely is a question, but I feel confident that Archie Wilson is going to be our guy. He's going to break down the scene, so I'm not actually worried about punter battle, despite some people, still, worried. Oh, we have never seen Archie Wilson play. He's going to be just fine. He's going to be the guy. It's not going to be Cam the Cook. So punter, I'm not even going to say it's a concern, but it's our kicker battle. That is a huge concern. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Kicker is something that could very well derail Nebraska's entire season completely, right? And there's a reason why he brought in our transfer Kaahaaina. Okay, everyone in the offseason will say, oh, John Hull's just fine. John Hull, when he has good snaps, good holds, he's going to be a great kicker. Well, that's not true because last year he had multiple times where there was a good snap, good hold, and he hooked it, right? He missed the field goal. So there's a reason why Kaahaaina's coming in. Mike Ekeler does not trust John Hull. Mike Ekeler definitely does not trust Tristan Alvano. So Mike Ekeler just wants pure competition there. And that's how you should have it. On a competitive football team, should have competition everywhere. So it's a three-way battle going into the Cincinnati game. And obviously, John Hull, he is the favorite. The big thing around him is he's healthy, right? Because he was not healthy in spring ball. We have a kicker room that's constantly injured, for better or worse. So is John Hull ready to go? Because he has a groin injury. The same thing Tristan Alvano had last year that sidelined him the entire year. So is John Hull ready to go? I think he is. He's definitely the incumbent, probably going to start. But you still got Kaahaaina in there, who has a very big leg, right? I would say it's like this with a three-way kicking battle. You have John Hull, who probably doesn't have the biggest leg, very inconsistent accuracy though. You have Kaahaaina, who has a bigger leg, but even more inconsistent accuracy. And then you have Alvano, who has the biggest leg of the bunch, but the worst actually of the bunch. So really, who's your option? I would say John Hull is. But you just don't really have a great option in that bunch. And I'm hoping Mike Ekeler can work his magic. John Hull can break out in a big way and be our guy, not miss a single kick this year. I'm just not betting on that. You can't fix everything in one offseason. That's something I preach to Nebraska fans constantly, though. Like, again, the special teams unit's going to be better in pretty much every department. It's impossible, though, for Mike Ekeler to take the worst special teams in the country, really. Let's call it what it is. The worst special teams in the country and make it one of the best overnight in one offseason. It's impossible. You can't fix everything in just 1 year. So honestly, if I want, to give you my prediction, my evaluation, I think we're going to be improved in pretty much every single aspect except for the kicks. Okay, we might be a little bit improved there, but it's not going to be dramatic. So when that happens, don't come on Mike Ekeler and say, oh, Mike Ekeler clearly didn't do anything in the offseason. No, he did a lot of things in the offseason. Everything's better except for just one department. He can't fix everything. You can't fix every single thing. And it's just a personnel issue, right? He hasn't brought in all his guys yet. So That's the only thing where I'm like, kicker battle is gonna be tough, right? And you need to find your guy there. You're hoping John Holt can break out and continue to develop. Not optimistic, and that's actually what matters, right? Putting field goals on the board, score 3 points. We'll see what happens there. But Mike Ekeler, I just know one thing: he's going to have these guys on a short leash. So whoever does start, John Holt, if he's out there stinking it up versus Cincinnati, you're gone. You're gone. You're gone. Kyle Quinton, you get your opportunity. Oh, Kyle Quinton, you're stinking it up. You're gone. Let's get Tristan Vano in there. Oh, Tristan, you're actually hitting field goals? Okay, we're keeping you in. That's how it's going to be a kicker, right? It's not going to be, oh, John Holt won the battle on fall camp. John Holt, you're out there for the entire year. Like, that's not what it's going to happen. Mike Ekeler does not preach that. Okay. Aggressiveness, physicality, short leash, perfection. Special teams is supposed to get a lot better this year. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below because honestly, again, Nebraska special teams, it's got to get better. We know how many games it's cost us. We know it cost us multiple games last year, multiple games 2023. We sit here, we never like to even think about special teams. We never think about it because we think it's just going to be perfect. It's never perfect. It screws us over in a lot of big ways, so we're hoping that special teams can break out this year so we don't even have to think about it anymore. Ideally, you never think about special teams because it's always very, very good. So let me know your thoughts down below. Hit that like button and subscribe. Again, reminder that this Saturday at 10 o'clock Central, I'll be posting my in-depth record prediction with statistics, with graphics, and so much more. It's going to be a big one. A lot of surprises in there, so make sure to set your calendars for 10 o'clock Central, my record prediction for Nebraska exclusive. So again, hit the like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go grab, go bet rule, and I will see you in the next one.